What's up, y'all? My name is Adama, and I am a full-time writer and director living and working in Los Angeles, California, in LA, in Hollywood, and this is my very first YouTube video. So I wanted to start this YouTube channel because, I love YouTube. I love like daily vlogs or weekly vlogs and lifestyle stuff where you kind of just like hang out with people and see a day in their life and that sort of thing. Like I'm kind of addicted to that shit. I also wanted this creative outlet where I could sort of like fill not a niche, but like an area that could be interesting to contribute to that space. I love being creative, and I wanted like another creative outlet that was a little separate from what I do professionally that's creative. And so I was like, you know, maybe I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And I figured that what I could fill or what I could bring to the space of like lifestyle vlogs is I do something that's like kind of cool, and then also something that is sort of like mystified. Like people don't really know what it's like working in television and film, or like they have an idea or they have like their best guesses, but they don't know like what the day-to-day could look like for someone working in TV and film. And it's different depending on what you do. But again, I'm a writer and a director, and so I figured that those are two big things that people really want to do in the industry. And so I figured that doing like lifestyle vlogs and give like sort of like a peek behind the curtain as much as possible to really show what it's like in this life with this lifestyle, what that could be like. So that's why I'm starting a YouTube channel. All right, so again, I am a professional writer and director, a professional filmmaker. So this journey, or like the LA leg of this journey, started when I moved to LA to go to film school. I went to UCLA and graduated with my MFA, my Master's of Fine Arts, in directing specifically. But I've always been a writer. Definitely was a writer before I was a director, and at UCLA they like nurtured the writer director, so that I decided that was the place for me. We could get into it more in a separate like sit down get to know me video that is like concentrated on film school or my film school journey. But yeah, moved out to LA to go to film school, and I've been here ever since. All right, so I know some people are like, yeah, film school is real cool, real cute, whatever. Like, you said you were a professional writer or director. What have you done? Like, what are your credits? So I'm just gonna dig into my resume and like tell y'all the kind of stuff that I've been doing since I became a full-time writer and director out here. So I shot my very first feature film in 2021. So we were definitely still in COVID days, and it was rough, y'all. But I am so proud of that film. It's called Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. It was, again, my first feature film, which is crazy. It's crazy to even think about that I have shot a movie. I'm really, really proud of what it did and how it turned out. It stars Regina Hall and Sterling K. Brown. It went to Sundance that year. At Sundance, it was sold and like acquired by Focus Features and Monkey Paw, which is Jordan Peele's production company. And then it got a theatrical release, which is insane in a world where like theatrical releases are just not promised for movies. Like, it was a bananas experience. So grateful, loved it, would definitely do it again. And I mean, I'm dying to do it again. I'll definitely direct another movie. And I actually, like, that was like my movie. Like, I wrote that movie. I actually wrote the very first draft of it while I was in film school. Again, that could be another story for another time. But I wrote it, I directed it. My creative partner, my identical twin sister, she produced it along with, you know, a host of other producers. But that was our baby, and we did that, and I couldn't be prouder. You could definitely still see it. I believe that it is streaming on Amazon Prime still, and if not, then because it's a Focus Feature situation, it is on Peacock for streaming. So it's called Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. The title is crazy. The movie's crazy, but I promise y'all, whatever y'all think it is, it's not. So right before I was on set to direct Honk, my sister and I, who, you know, I told you for Honk, she was my creative partner, my producer, which is very true, and she still is, but Honk is the only project that I wrote by myself. Everything else since then, I've written with my sister, who is my co-writer. And so right before we went on set for Honk, we had just wrapped writing in the room for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is a limited series, or I guess it turned into an anthology series. But we wrote on season 1 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It stars Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, and it was like, again, I'm probably gonna be saying this a lot because sometimes I wake up and I can't believe that I get to do what I do for a living. It is probably one of the most creatively fulfilling projects that I've ever worked on, outside of the stuff that I like write and develop with my sister. I can't even put it into words. It was an incredible experience. And through that experience, writing on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I got cool with Donald Glover. And again, that is another story for another time. We got pretty cool and he asked me to direct on Atlanta season 4, which is insane. Okay, the timeline again is that I was writing on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then right when we wrapped that, like right not too long after wrapping on the writer's room of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I went to go shoot my movie. And I met Donald Glover through Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and he wanted me to direct on Atlanta season 4, which obviously I said yes. I had maybe a few days off between wrapping on my movie and starting pre-production for Atlanta. And I think back and I'm like, girl, that was so hectic, but obviously I wasn't going to turn down the opportunity. And then it was fantastic. It was amazing. And so I ended up directing an episode of Atlanta season 4. It is called Born to Die. It's the, I was going to say it's the weird, child, the whole show was weird and fucking fantastic. The weird D'Angelo episode, and it's the one with like the rally / the checkers, but in Georgia. It's the one with Yodel Kid. It's the one with the Grammys. So it's a really wild and fun and funny, cool episode. And I love that I got to have that experience to direct on it. So the next really, really dope opportunity that my sister and I got to be a part of was to be in the writer's room for the latest Batman animated series, which is called Batman Cape Crusader. We're big Marvel, DC superhero people. We have been for the majority of our lives. Like our first Batman was Batman the animated series. And what was really, really cool about this one was that Batman Cape Crusader, the show that we wrote on, was created by the creator of Batman the animated series, Bruce Timm. And we got to work in the room with him every single day. It was so, so amazing. And I'm really, really proud of what we ended up making with that show. That one is also on Amazon Prime. And it's just so much like BTAS, Batman the Animated Series. We call it BTAS. But it's also so not in I think the best way. So yeah, my sister and I wrote 2 episodes of that. We wrote the Catwoman episode and we wrote like the Gordon centric episode with Commissioner Gordon and his daughter Barbara. So again, if y'all want to check that one out, it is on Amazon Prime and I think it's really, really cool. So we were writing on Batman the Animated Series at the same time that we were editing our movie. And luckily everything worked out. It got into Sundance. We got the cut in on time. But during sort of like this bidding war that was going on for the sale of the movie, I get a call from Donald and he's like, hey, what are you doing this spring or summer? I was like, why? What's up? Essentially, he asked me to direct on his next show, which is called Swarm. Now, Swarm was being written at like the exact same time that Mr. and Mrs. Smith was being written. And I had originally wanted to be in the Swarm room. Like it's about a lot of things, but like, you know, the quick pitch is that it's like about this black woman serial killer. And I was like, put me in that room. But I ended up in the Mr. and Mrs. Smith room and obviously like couldn't be more happy for it. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith ended up getting nominated for I think like 16 Emmys. Has now been nominated for 3 WGA awards, the Writers Guild of America awards, which means my sister and I got nominated because we wrote an episode. I'll be going to that later on this year or later on this month, but still early in the year. I adored Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I cannot get enough of it. But at the very beginning, I was like, I want to be in the black woman serial killer room, but I wasn't. So what was really cool was that he asked me to direct on that show and I did. And it was such a wild experience. We got to shoot it on film. The whole show was shot on film. I had never shot on film. Donald and the other director, Ibra, had never shot on film, but I think we really crafted something unique and beautiful. Working with Dominique Fishbeck was fantastic. I love her down. Would 100% work with her again. And I got to direct 3 episodes of that series. I directed the most episodes of that series. So I directed the 2nd episode, which is the stripper episode. I directed the 3rd episode, which is kind of the like Who Bit Naja episode, who was our pop star. You gotta check it out. And then I directed the finale. And again, what a wild experience. What a growing experience for me as an artist, as a filmmaker. And God, I used to be this type of person who was like, ain't no difference between like digital and film. Like obviously I see the difference, but you know, shoot it on digital. Don't worry about shooting it on film and then like throw a filter on it or like color grade it or whatever. Yeah, I shut up real quick after like the first day that we got there. I was like, and then seeing the end product, it's gorgeous, y'all. I can't even get into it. It's gorgeous. And so that was a phenomenal experience. I directed yet again in the Donald Glover camp and would direct again in the Donald Glover camp. I mean, I love it there. And then my latest credit is that I directed an episode of Pokerface season 2. It is starring Natasha Lyonne. It is created by Ryan Johnson, who is the writer and director of all the Knives Out movies. And man, like that was so cool because I got to do stuff. Like I got to do a very different directing style than I'm accustomed to. It's a very different directing style than I did with my movie, a different directing style than I've done on the other shows that I have directed on. I'm sure a lot of people have seen Knives Out, but his directing style is so cool. He gonna use the camera and let you know he's using the camera. It's no like just like setting the camera up in a room, just observing, fly on the wall. No, he wants you to know that he loves camera and he gonna use it. And that directing style is so much fun to work with. And so he has brought that same directing style to Pokerface. And season 1 of Pokerface is directed so incredibly well. Ryan Johnson directs his episodes incredibly well, but like all the guest directors got to bring like their own flavor and taste while also just like, you know, folding it into what Ryan has built. And so I was so excited to get this call because I've been dying to do directing like that, to just kind of go balls to the walls in a way that I've just never done before. And so I just wrapped in early November of 2024 my episode of Pokerface season 2, and that is also on Peacock. So those are my professional writing and directing credits, all the things that I've done in the industry so far since I've been a full-time creative. I think I forgot to mention this earlier in the video, which I should have said, but I became a full-time creative in 2020. So it was January 2020. So it's been 5 years since I've been actively doing this, writing and directing full-time. Like that is my job. That is what pays the bills. It's been 5 wonderful, glorious, really tough, really hard, fulfilling years, and I literally wouldn't be doing anything else. Like I said, this channel is going to be chronicling my life and my lifestyle as a writer and director working in LA and in the film and TV industry, but it's also going to just chronicle my life and like the aspects of my life that are outside of that and or intertwined with that. And so this is going to be a lifestyle channel, so I intend on doing a few other things here. Every day is not me on set. In fact, that's not even like most days. Like every day is not me in a writer's room. That's not even most days. Oh, and this I guess also counts as a credit or a part of my resume, but I am currently in an overall deal with Sony Television. I just started this overall deal in late 2024. And before that, I was in an overall deal with 20th TV, which is underneath the Disney umbrella. And I can get it more into overall deals and like my experience with overall deals and stuff like that in a separate video if y'all are interested in it. But yeah, so right now I am working exclusively with Sony in television for television projects, but I can do whatever I would like to do in film. So that's me, y'all. I mean, that is like a lot of my resume. Again, I'm chronicling my life in this industry, but also just my life in general and what it's like to live in LA, work in LA, work in this industry, obviously. What I want to do with this channel is sort of like demystify, sort of like raise the curtain off of what it's like to be a writer and director in this industry, and a writer and director who is like making their way in this industry, who is pretty continuously writing things and shooting things and things that are going on the air. Like what is that like? Like what is that lifestyle like? What do you do day to day? And so I really want to just demystify what that's about. I feel like when I was first trying to get into this industry and figure things out, there was so much that I didn't know and so much that I couldn't look up, which doesn't make sense to me. It's sort of gate-kept in a way that I find disheartening and I don't think is necessary. And so as much as I can share, I am under contract for a lot of projects that have to be kept confidential, but that doesn't mean that I can't talk about like how I work or eventually what I'm working on and my approach to things and like what my day-to-day life is like, taking meetings or going on lunches or going to dinners and meeting people, meeting other writers, meeting actors, meeting producers and that sort of thing. But also like the nitty-gritty, like how do you get a script sold? How do you pitch? How do you direct actors? What should you look for when negotiating specific deals? Like, I feel like those are the kind of things that like people sort of just like learn on the fly, or don't know at all for a very long time. And like, why not like get into it if we can get into it? You know what I mean? That's what my goal is for this channel. To get into, like I said, demystify what Hollywood is like for a writer and a director, for those who want to be writers and directors, but then also just like lifestyle stuff. I'm planning on getting into some personal stuff. I'm engaged. I'm getting married this year in 2025. I live with my fiance. We recently moved in together, like I think summer 2024. And we haven't even yet spent an entire month in our new place together, or at all. Like either one of us, we haven't spent an entire month in this place just because we travel so much and we've been really busy. I went to shoot Pokerface in October, didn't end until November, and so I was gone for a large chunk of time. I'm gonna explore on this channel a lot of stuff that I love that feels like really artistic to me. I'm going to be doing like a lot of home decor stuff. I love fashion, and so we're gonna be talking like style and fashion. I like getting dressed. I like fashion. It feels like curation. It feels like art to me, and so we're going to be talking about that kind of stuff too. I love gaming. I love a video game. The love is deep. I've been gaming since I was 7 years old. Like, I have all the PlayStations. I have Game Boy Color on up. Like, I have a Switch. I will be getting the Switch too. I love gaming, and so we'll be talking gaming over here. I love to read. I was an English major in college and like an avid reader my entire life. We were consuming story from books. We were consuming story from movies and TV. We were consuming stories from like video games. Our favorite types of video games are RPGs because they're all about the story. And so all of these things are still a constant in my life, even though I'm not a professional, like I'm not an author, although one day I thought I would be. And maybe one day I will write a book still. I don't work in the gaming industry, but it's all art. It's all very story-based, and they're all really important to me. And so I plan on exploring a lot of that on this channel as well. I didn't mention that I love manga and anime. I mean, I guess in today's age, who doesn't? I'm a millennial. I mean, probably whatever age you think I am, I'm older than that. Anime was like Toonami was anime. Okay, the original Toonami was anime. 1997, 1998, like all of that. That's when I got into anime. All of this stuff is just like stuff that I love, things that I'm interested in, things that are like a part of my life in a way that I would like to share, but then also things that are directly correlated to what I do as a filmmaker, as a writer and a director. So yeah, that's what this channel is about. The goal is some sort of like weekly content. It's either going to be days in my life type of vlogging, lifestyle things that I'm really excited about and that I really like to consume myself, or sit down videos. Like, I have ideas about doing sit down videos where you just get to know more about me and my journey. So film school journey, or my journey making my first feature film, or my journey as a first-time TV director. So I'm thinking about calling those sort of sit-down videos like story times, but I also have ideas for other sort of sit-down videos that I want to call like industry talk or something like that. So industry talk about indie filmmaking, industry talk about representation, so like about agents and managers, industry talk about writers' rooms, like that sort of thing. Again, all of that is sort of like contributing to my idea, my goal about demystifying this industry and all of the things that sort of go into it. So yeah. I'm really excited to be finally doing this. I've been thinking about starting a YouTube in different ways, like not necessarily in this way, but I've been thinking about getting on YouTube for probably 8 or 9 years, and like I'm taking the leap. I'm doing it. Really just want to, you know, in addition to talking about the industry and as best I can educating about the industry and giving like a sort of a peek behind the curtain about my life in the industry, I also kind of just want a video diary of this time in my life. Something that I realized lately was that it's been 5 years since I've become a full-time creative. Things went incredibly fast, and I think for a lot of it, I didn't really get to take the time and really sort of like sit in what was happening and sort of absorb what was going on. In hindsight, I wish that I kind of had something to look back on. I did like a bunch of interviews for the movie and stuff like that. And there's like BTS photos of like my time on like the Atlanta set and stuff like that. But I wish that I could like look back and like really remember like what I was feeling, good or bad, how I was doing, what each of the steps felt like, you know what I mean? And so I kind of just also want this to be a video diary so I can remember what it's like. I'm living my dream. I'm working in my passion, and it's my dream career. It's my dream job. I would literally never want to do anything else. And I'm very blessed and fortunate and privileged to be here. Yeah. So that's it for this first video. I'm looking forward to building this community and having fun, and I can't wait to start really putting some stuff out there. All right, y'all. I will catch y'all in the next one. It might be a vlog. It might be a sit down chatty video, one of the story times or the industry talks. I don't know yet. All I know is that I'm determined to keep this one going, and I'm happy and I'm excited. I'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.